This Chicago Bears loss to the Rams really sucks because the game proved this team is a real contender who had just as good of a shot at the Super Bowl as anybody else.
You are Locked On Bears, your daily Chicago Bears podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On Bears, and I'm your host, Lauren Cox. I'm here to bring you your daily, in-depth Chicago Bears news and analysis. And on the show today, we're going to pick up the pieces from the Bears' Divisional Round playoff loss to the Los Angeles Rams, try and take some big picture perspective, more so on the game and what it meant. We have plenty of time to talk about the season as a whole, but we'll also dive in more specifically on this Bears defense playing, I don't want to say its best game of the season, but its best game we've seen in quite some time. And as a result, the offense really not stepping up to meet them where they were, not getting it off on that side of the ball in the one game where it felt like the defense finally gave you everything you were asking for. Thank you so much for making Locked On Bears your first listen today. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode, which means every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more way to get in on the action with profit boost packs. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. But this Bears game is no moral victory, especially not in the playoffs. But what it showed me and you and the national TV audience watching was that this Bears team was a play away from the NFC Championship game. That they could go toe-to-toe with a Los Angeles Rams team that many people have as their Super Bowl favorite in the NFC. Certainly a battle-tested, playoff-producing Rams team. The Bears were one play away in any given moment here or there throughout the game. You change any number of individual plays, and the Bears win this game and are on the way to the NFC Championship game. And it erases, even in a loss, all of the haters and the doubters and everyone saying that this Bears team were frauds, right? They're winning all these one-score games late in the fourth quarter, so they must not actually be that good, right? At some point, someone's going to expose them, right? Never exposed. Even in a loss to the Rams, they were not exposed as some fraudulent team. If anything, they cemented themselves as like, oh yeah, they're one of the four best teams in the NFC. They sure look like it, and they're probably one of the, six best teams in the NFL. They sure played like it against Los Angeles Rams. They went toe-to-toe with a team that it's going to be a popular pick, I think, to upset the Seahawks next week. We'll see. I mean, the Seahawks are a good number one seed for a reason, but no one's going to be surprised if the Rams are in the Super Bowl, and no one's going to be that stunned if the Rams win the Super Bowl. And the Bears took that team to overtime, and you really feel like probably should have beat them, all things considered. We don't have to get stuck on that in this moment, but it was such a measuring stick for the Chicago Bears season of they belong here. And that's kind of the big picture takeaway, right? Everyone want to say, well, they barely beat the Packers twice this season and, scraped by in all these other games, that they can't be a serious good team. They're just big frauds waiting to happen. And no, they were a serious good team that almost beat another serious good team in the second round of the playoffs. That means a lot. That carries a lot of weight. And it even in a loss, it rewards what this Bears season has been. If the Bears had gotten to the divisional round like this and lost to the Rams, say the way that the 49ers lost to the Seahawks, right? Blowout. That was a 41-6 game on Saturday night. And it was just clear that one of those teams was way better than the other, and the other team just didn't really have it all. That would have been so not only humiliating, but also would have undercut all of the success and the progress the team has made this year. Because, you see how they got embarrassed in the playoffs? They weren't actually that good of a team. They were just lucky, or they were just whatever you want to say. They just played bad teams. They just had an easy schedule, whatever excuses about why this Bears team wasn't good enough. But the problem against Los Angeles Rams wasn't just they were outmatched by some better opponent. If anything, the Bears played like the better team for a lot of this game against the Rams. And I think you can point to plenty of self-inflicted wounds and the Bears' own mistakes that cost them quite a bit against the Rams, rather than it being a case of, well, the Rams are just the more experienced, better team. Stafford's a Super Bowl quarterback. McVay's a Super Bowl head coach. And shucks, they're just the better team that got the best of you today. And you got to tip your cap to a good opponent. That didn't feel like the case for me watching this game. I think at worst you can say these two teams were even. You could make an argument that the Bears played the better game and lost. But I think at worst they were even. And they were exchanging blows back and forth with touchdowns early on. Then they were exchanging defensive stops and 3-and-outs late on the stretch, or I guess in the middle of the game. Then late on the stretch, they exchanged late scores. They get into overtime, right? This was clearly two fairly evenly matched teams, and one of them may end up in the Super Bowl. And so if the Bears lose to the team that ends up going to the Super Bowl from the NFC, or even if the Rams give the Seahawks a heck of a fight and the Seahawks win, the Bears were right in there and they belonged among these top three contending teams in the NFC. Everyone thought the Bears were kind of frauds, as they don't deserve the 2 seed. They weren't the second best team in the NFC, right? That's what everyone was saying, but clearly they look like the third best team in the NFC at the very least, and we're right there with the Rams in this game. So I just think this was such a validation of the progress Ben Johnson made, even in a loss. The progress Caleb Williams made, the progress the defense made. This was as hopeful as I could be leaving a playoff loss about how, wow, this team really did earn all of this. And boy, you feel like this team can still be even better, right? This wasn't a team that was firing on all cylinders, maxing everybody out, revving the engine to 10,000 RPMs and just pushing everything. And now they're just gonna, they kind of overshot their ability, and now they're gonna collapse next year and fall back down to earth. This is an offense. We have not seen this Bears offense play A-plus football for 4 quarters. We have not seen this Bears defense play A-plus football for almost any quarter this season, right? This is a Bears team that was not playing their best football for most of the year, and maybe weren't even playing their best football against Los Angeles Rams. This is a team whose best football we haven't seen. We've seen a young offense that's still making mistakes and learning on the fly as they go. We see a defense that's still in transition and adapting to what Dennis Allen likes and still has major flaws and weaknesses on that side of the ball. This is not the best form the Bears team is going to take right now under Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. That's not to say that they're going to win more games next season in the regular season, but I think we're going to see them play better football still in the future. And that's what's exciting too. This wasn't they hit their ceiling and it was the divisional round and now it's all downhill from here. It's no, they were just scratching the surface and they got to the divisional round. That's how you can leave this game after a loss, not feeling good about the game. And you shouldn't be, I don't want to overlook how much that sucked to be right there and feel like the game was right there, yours for the taking, and you can't come up with it. But boy, you can also take a step back and say, boy, it was fun. It was fun as heck to watch. You were super happy to be here, happy to go toe-to-toe in a great game like that. We all got to enjoy some playoff football that Packers fans didn't get to enjoy, that Lions fans didn't get to enjoy, that Vikings fans didn't get to enjoy. This was so much fun to be a part of, and I think there's a lot more fun still to come in the future. But we do need to dig in a little bit deeper to the game itself. That was a lot of positive developments from the Bears defense. You hold any team to 17 points in regulation and you make a stop in overtime, that's a winning defensive performance. And vice versa, offense that only puts up 17 in regulation in the game, tough to win in that game. So we'll take a look at why, or I guess what we could tell from the defense playing so much better and where the offense was running into trouble next on Locked On Bears. This episode of Locked On Bears is brought to you by Ultimate QB Football Legend. You ever wished to become a pro quarterback, get drafted number 1 overall by the Bears, maybe try and turn that failing franchise into a dynasty a la Caleb Williams? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number 1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness. It's the number 1 QB career mode game on the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. The best part is Ultimate QB is totally free to download, totally free to play, and has no ads, working 100% offline. It's perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com ultimateqb.com or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we've got something special just for you. Use our promo code LOCKEDON in the games store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB football legend. QB1, it's your legacy. The Locked On Bears podcast is also brought to you by PrizePicks. With the big game right around the corner, there's no better way to stay locked into every moment than with PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where it always feels good to be right. With the playoffs coming down to the final stretch, now's the perfect time to close it out strong. PrizePicks makes watching the games even more exciting by letting you build simple lineups around player projections. No drafts, no waiting, just football action all the way through the playoffs. So you pick 2 or more players and choose more or less on their stat projections. That's in football, in basketball, in soccer, hockey, tennis, boxing, you name it. All the sports are there on PrizePicks. And if you get your picks right, you win big. So download the PrizePicks app today and use our promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Thanks again for making the Locked On Bears podcast your first listen today. Especially shout out to all of our everydayers. They've been tuning in 5 days a week all throughout the season and this fun playoff run. If you want to take your listening to the next level, you can become a member of the Locked On Bears Everydayers Club and get access to ad-free audio feeds for Locked On Bears, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the major podcasting apps. Plus, you'll get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayers Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for Locked On Bears listeners. If you want to check it out, go to lockedonbears.supercast.com to sign up for that ad-free audio feed and be a part of our Everydayers Club for all of our daily Bears news and analysis, breaking down games like this one where the defense steps up. Dennis Allen took the adjustments he made against the Green Bay Packers and lo and behold, kept them rolling into the game against the Rams. It's something we had talked about on this podcast last week of saying you sure hope he doesn't come out trying the same things that weren't working before. Comes out trying different stuff. It was really, really refreshing and relieving. And we did our Bears squad show live after the game on the Locked On Bears YouTube channel, and Joe George felt like it was frustrating because it's like, well, why did it take him so long to make these adjustments? And I get that, but at least he started the game with those adjustments. And I'm just glad he did it before it was too late, right? Like the defense absolutely did their job and kept the offense in this game. Really, from the start, blitzing. They blitzed Matthew Stafford on 3 of his first 4 passing plays. Like they were sending extra pass rushers to get after him and make him uncomfortable. They sacked him 4 times in this game. I don't know the Bears have gotten 4 sacks. I think there have maybe been 1 or 2 games against some really bad teams, but they have not gotten this many sacks in many games. Certainly not against playoff teams that may end up being Super Bowl teams. And I get the Rams offensive line has its ups and downs for sure, but like it just felt like this Bears pass rush was all of a sudden, with the blitz, like consistent enough to keep Matthew Stafford uncomfortable, right? Like it wasn't I wouldn't call it dominant pass rush, but it was consistent enough that Stafford was moved off his spot a bit and uncomfortable when doing so, missed some throws under pressure, sacked him 4 times, but also like at the same time, somehow lots of plays where there's just really good coverage. Like somehow both the pass rush and the secondary played like some of their, maybe, I don't want to say their best game of the season because, again, like they held the Browns to 3 points. They really shut down the Eagles, but like their best game in a month or two, it feels like, of just things really coming together in a way that's a little bit hard to fully explain. Like the other Bears played a little more zone coverage. They even tried some zone blitzes. Like Dennis Allen definitely coached them well and mixed up his play calling sequences well enough to help them play better. Stafford also had a really bad game for Matthew Stafford standards. For the MVP of the league, he missed some throws. And like there were multiple plays in this game that should have been interceptions, near interceptions. There was one that Byard dropped early in the game. There were at least a couple that hit Bears defenders' hand. I think Byard had his hands on 2 of them. And then of course there was the Tyreek Stevenson play, right, where was it Devontae Adams is going to the ground and Stevenson rips it out, and it's just like the play we saw on Saturday in the Bills-Broncos game, that in that game it was considered an interception. In this game it was considered a catch. I think personally they probably both belong as catches, and the Bears didn't get the same luck that the Was it the Broncos? I forget whether it was a Broncos receiver. I think it would have been a Broncos receiver because they won the game, right? Like, we can sit and complain about that play all day if we want to. There were 10 or 15 plays in this game that if they go differently, the Bears win this game. If Robinhood catches that touchdown on the first drive, if any of those other interceptions were caught, Bears probably win this game. The Bears also strip sacked Matthew Stafford twice in this game, and neither fumble was recovered by the Chicago Bears. You get out of this game with 0 turnovers, but there were at least 4, maybe 5 plays that could have or should have been Bears turnovers. And if you get any one of those plays, you probably win this game. I mean, it takes points off the board for the Rams, right? And it gives you good field position. And maybe you finish some of those 4th down drives with touchdowns instead of turnovers on downs or interceptions, right? Like, there's so many different moments like that this defense was playing really well, and it's not reflected in the 0 turnovers, but it certainly is reflected in 17 total points, right? You gave them a touchdown on the first drive of the game, and then a field goal at the end of the first half, and then a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and that was it until overtime. Like, you shut them out of more than 2 full quarters worth of game time of just forcing a lot of punts, making stops, pass rush, disrupting Stafford. And, the Rams got the running game going a little bit, for sure. That was working for them, but they abandoned it quite a bit, and Stafford just wasn't playing particularly well. But man, like, this box score for the Rams looks so much better than it actually was for this defense. Like, it just felt like some of that, we talk about turnover luck, right? That's kind of what it felt like they ran out. Like, the playmaking was still there for the Bears defense. Like, they were generating turnover-worthy plays, but the turnover luck ran out. And like, there's a difference, right? It wasn't like, oh, wow, the Bears forgot how to generate turnovers. Like, you saw, they did their end of the bargain, but you need a little luck of the fumble bouncing your way or the interception, staying in your hands, right? Just little things like that ran out, but it wasn't for a lack of playmaking from the defense. That was all still there. It's just sort of the oblong ball bounces funny sometimes, and it didn't bounce your way defensively. That's about the only thing you can point to on that side of the ball that just really didn't go their way. I mean, the running game, again, the Rams gassed you on it a little bit, but at the end of the day, the Rams got the ball first in overtime, and you stopped them. You gave the Bears the ball back overtime. Next score wins, you had a chance. And same thing, like, you held them to 17 in regulation. You made stops down the stretch in the fourth quarter to give your offense the ball back with a chance for Caleb Williams to drive down and get the game-tying touchdown on an absolutely insane, absolutely insane touchdown pass to Cole Kmet. We got to talk about that play, but also some rough throws from Caleb Williams in there too. I think the last interception in overtime was a lot on DJ Moore. I'm not going to say 100% on DJ Moore, but I'm going to say a lot on DJ Moore. And then there were some play calls at times for Ben Johnson as well that you wish you would have back and could differently. So a lot of different problems for this Bears offense to break down next on Locked On Bears. This episode of Locked On Bears is brought to you by FanDuel. The championship round is coming up, and FanDuel is in playoff mode. Every single game day during the playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because if you open up the app on game day, FanDuel users are going to get a profit boost pack waiting for them. It's loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets you like the most. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you were already going to make instead of forcing you to bet something new to get the better price. So you make your picks, then apply the profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs heat up. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your playoff profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Simply put, the Bears offense wasn't good enough down the stretch. And that's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, and a weird reversal of so much of the season where it felt like the defense wasn't good enough and the offense did its best to climb back in and get in a shootout late in these games. In this case, it was the defense holding the Rams down plenty, and the offense just needed one more play. One more miracle, maybe, because they certainly got one in the fourth quarter on Caleb Williams' fourth down touchdown throw to Cole Kmet. That's one of the most insane Bears throws we will ever see in our lifetimes. But it was over the course of the game. There's, again, 10, 15 types of plays that you get any one of those back, and maybe it's a different result, right? It started on the first drive of the game on, was it third down or was it second down and goal? And Caleb Williams throws it to Rome Odunze. I guess it was, and in the end zone, right at the goal line, and he can't hold onto it. Like, it was maybe slightly behind him, and I think it wasn't and goal, but it was second down in the red zone, I believe. And it's right there for him in the breadbasket, dropped. And that's, you go from what would have been 7 points there to then a pressured interception on fourth down. It's tipped, a little too high for Loveland. He tips it up, and then it gets intercepted. And you go from 7 points to 0 points on a Rome Odunze drop. Like, you have that touchdown back. Obviously it's early enough in the game where it probably changes how everybody plays it. But like when a game goes to overtime, you lose by 3, and you had a touchdown dropped. Like, that's a game-changing play that probably wins you this game. And then, you from there you get another touchdown drive on the next drive. A touchdown to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone. It's a really nice throw from Caleb, and then things kind of slow down from there, right, until you get to the very end, and then it goes crazy at the end. But like, there's always going to be so much second guessing coming out of this game, where it's like, oh, well, that fourth down on the first drive that gets intercepted, you should have kicked the field goal there, right? You're about the 21-yard line, I think, is where the fourth down was from. It was like 4th and 3. People say you got to take the points there and kick the field goal. And I hear you, and I understand that thinking, but I also think that it goes both ways. And if you say take the points there, then it's hard to come back on the next drive when you get fourth down and it's 4th and 2 and they go for it and it's a touchdown to DJ Moore and you get 7 there. Because if you take the points there on both of those drives, then you have 6 instead of 7, and you're down at halftime because the Rams had 10 and you would have had 9 at that point, right? Like, going for it on fourth down got you the touchdown the second time, and it got you 0 points the first time. And that's the gamble that you play, and that's the math that you play. It's kind of like in the NBA, how like you take more 3-pointers because they're worth more than 2-pointers, and even though you're going to hit a lower percentage of your 3-pointers, they're worth more points overall, so it's worthwhile to take more threes. Even though you're going to hit less of them, you're going to get more points over time. It's the same math concept for these fourth down conversions, right? If 2 field goals is still less than 1 touchdown. So if you go for field goals both times there, you're still going to have less points than if you get the touchdown on one of the 2 attempts there. Like, it would take you 3 field goals and 3 drives that end in field goals on fourth downs to get more points than getting a touchdown on any one of those drives. So like, you kind of have to live and die with that a little bit in those situations where in both cases it's a relatively close field goal. You're deep in Rams territory. It's going to be a long field for them either way. And so I totally get going for it there. I understand second guessing it when it doesn't work, but then no one second guesses it when it does work, and it's kind of the same decision either way. So you don't want to base it just on results, but on the decision to go for it there. I am perfectly fine with questioning the play call in some of those, because later in the game, right, 3rd and 1, they pound up the middle and they're stuffed. 4th and 1, they pound up the middle and they're stuffed. And like, I wouldn't mind seeing. I understand like one of those. Try pounding up the middle, and then if you don't get it that time, maybe try something else, especially when you're back on another short goal, short yardage situation, and you run it again and again, right? Like, eventually people get mad when you throw on 4th and short because it's like, oh, you're getting too cute. I get that. But if you tried running it a few times and it's not working, then you got to try something else. People think it's too cute when you just go straight to the pass and don't try the run. But once you've tried the run and it's failed, I get trying to do different stuff there. I'm totally on board with questioning the play call on fourth down, like the offense's play call, but I'm on board with going for it when he did. It wasn't like he was doing it in his own territory. He didn't give the Rams good field position or anything on those plays. Like, I'm fine with the fourth down decisions, especially when Caleb Williams was dialed in from the start. Those first 2 drives, right? The one that ends in an interception, one that ends in a touchdown on fourth down. Across those 2 drives, Caleb Williams was 5 for 8 passing. 2 of those incompletions were dropped passes. The third one was the interception that was a little high for Colson Loveland. Loveland got a hand on it, tipped it up, and it's picked off. So Caleb Williams missed one of his first 8 throws in the game. The other 2 hit receivers in the hands and were drop passes. He was playing well. So if Caleb's in rhythm, he's hitting receivers accurately, leave him on the field, go get 7 points. Right? It's different if like Caleb's struggling a little bit and the offense is kind of disjointed. Maybe you want to take the field goal because you're not sure you're going to get it on fourth down. But when he's dialed in early on, ride that hot hand, try and put points on the board. Totally on board with that. From there, though, You get dropped passes, you get stuffed in short yardage situations. Caleb missing a few throws in the second and third quarters, especially in there. Totally valid to put some of those misses on him, and that's part of why the offense slowed down a little bit. Like, I don't think he is free of blame by any means from those plays. And, even there was a later interception where I think he kind of misread the coverage that looked like man-to-man, and then he dropped off in zone, and it was not a good interception for Caleb Williams by any means. He made mistakes. This game was very far from perfect, but obviously, as always, overcomes it at the end. That fourth and 8 throw from the 14-yard line, he backs all the way up to his 40 and throws a 50-yard pass into the end zone for Cole Kmet. When he let go of that ball, that had no chance. That was a prayer. We were all thinking the same thing. He's falling backwards. There's pass rush in his face. He's throwing up a Hail Mary. When he lets go of that ball, we can't see what's going on in the end zone, right? We're just watching it live as it's happening. That's a Hail Mary, right? You're expecting that ball to go somewhere where there's going to be 4 Rams defenders and like 1 or 2 Bears receivers, and it's a jump ball, and it's probably going to fall incomplete. Game over. Like, he lets go of that ball, season's probably over. And somehow, it's Cole Kmet in the back corner of the end zone. Did he push off a teeny bit? Maybe. Was it egregious offensive pass interference? Absolutely not. And we heard Terry McAuley on the broadcast say, no, good call, good no call, no pass interference on that play. Like, I think that's a normal amount of players fighting for the ball, and the cornerback kind of, I don't know if he flopped a little bit or whatever, he was trying to draw the flag, but that was a brilliant play by Caleb Williams. Really nice play by Cole Kmet. Unbelievable quarterback play. Maybe the throw of the year. Between that and the game-winning overtime touchdown against the Packers to DJ Moore, those two are just either of those throws would be the best throw in the careers of most other quarterbacks in the NFL. Will never make throws better than that. Will make one of those throws in their entire career. Caleb Williams had 3 of those career type of throws, like once in a career type of throws this season alone. Absolutely insane. Ben Johnson kicks the extra point instead of going for 2 for the win. And I know he talked about loved the 4th down decisions early in the game. I was fine with those. I was fine with kicking the PAT only because the drive right before that, you remember the last drive before the miracle throw? Bears drove down to the goal line, went for it on 4th down, and it was trying to throw the quick slant in there to DJ Moore, and it was bad pass. So the play before, DeAndre Swift bounced to the outside and tried to leap over the guy on 3rd down, got stopped. 4th down, they went for it, incomplete pass. The Bears were bad at the goal line and bad in short yardage situations in this game. So I'm okay with Ben Johnson saying, you know what, let's not go for 2 because we're not doing well in that area of the field. Like, I go for it on 4th down when the offense is clicking. Going for 2 when it's short yardage situation, I'm okay with the PAT, and he was rewarded for it. Defense made a stop, gave the offense the ball back in overtime. That means that paid off. Like, that was the risk. The risk was like, oh, you take it to overtime, Rams score on their first drive, and then you don't really have it. You try and tie it, but then you lose, but because you couldn't make a stop. He trusted his defense. They bailed him out. I'm fine with the decision 100%. I'm also fine with the throw Caleb Williams threw on DJ Moore's on the interception in overtime. You go watch the all 22 of that. Chase Daniel posted on Twitter if you want to go watch it now. DJ Moore's route was terrible, and his effort and hustle was terrible. I don't want to put then 100% of the blame on DJ Moore because, Caleb's thrown into a spot thinking DJ Moore's going to get there. We don't know how good of a spot that was. He probably put it a little bit too far in front, but it's not an interception if DJ Moore hustles harder on that play. It might be an incomplete pass, but it was 2nd down, 2nd and 6, 2nd and 8. That one's tough, and that one's going to lead to some really difficult conversations about DJ Moore this offseason, but we'll have plenty of time to get into those. We got a lot of offseason ahead of us, but we're not going anywhere here on the Locked On Bears podcast, so make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, because that's going to be the best way to keep up with all of our daily, in-depth Chicago Bears news and analysis. Thanks for making Locked On Bears your first listen today. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keep tuning into Locked On Bears 5 days a week. Join the Everydayers Club if you want to get that ad-free listening experience. LockedOnBears.supercast.com will also get you an invite to the Locked On Bears group chat in the Discord for the Locked On Everydayers Club to get, or keep tuning in the same way you do every single day. We're never going to go behind a paywall. We're always going to be free and available on all platforms to make sure that every time you listen, you're going to get another opportunity to bear down.